Mort, what was the deciding factor for Jim Irsay to make this move?
You know, I think this deciding factor, even though it was clearly an ongoing process for Jim Irsay, probably was made when he fired Bill Polian and Chris Polian, you know, the vice chairman of the team, the general manager of the team, and then ultimately Jim Caldwell, the head coach. You know, I think it was basically him saying, I'm going to start over. I'm gonna rebuild this franchise, and even though he knows that Peyton Manning was the face of the franchise, helped build that Lucas Oil Stadium, which hosted a Super Bowl this year, has done so much in the community, I think that Jim just felt like for it to be a truly fresh start after what was a season that nobody expected. I mean, the circumstances that created itself for the Colts to go 2-14. I mean, if they beat Jacksonville in the last game of the season, they don't have the first pick and they don't have Andrew Luck, and who we expect them to pick. But I think for Jim Irsay, it's just, you know, we're going to start fresh everywhere, including that quarterback, because the awkwardness of having a Peyton Manning who wants, you know, basically to take almost every rep at practice because he's trying to get ready to win a game on the following Sunday, and then Andrew Luck, who is the first pick in the draft, and heck, as Peyton Manning would probably tell you, and has said many times, he believes the first pick in the draft, if your quarterback, needs to play from day one.
Well, Morta, if the Colts didn't have that #1 pick overall in next month's draft, would they have made this decision to cut Manning loose?
Yeah, I don't think they would have. You know, listen, and maybe there's a part of Jim Irsay, and I don't know, you know, maybe Jim will say that, you know, even though the doctors have cleared Peyton, even though he's clearly made tremendous progress throwing the football, which he has, and the doctors have cleared him and say that he's no more at risk than any other player who plays football. Of course, every player who plays is at risk when they take the football field. You know, I think that if they did not have the first pick, that Peyton would still be a Colt, and that was his desire to start and finish his career with the Indianapolis Colts. This is, you know, even though Peyton, I'm sure, will handle this well today, because this is not a retirement press conference. It's got to be emotional because he wanted to finish his career with the Colts.
Colts fans will clearly be upset with this decision. Bottom line, Mort, did Jim Irsay make the right decision on Peyton Manning?
Well, I think we won't know for 2 or 3 years. I mean, if Peyton Manning is playing Peyton Manning level of football over the next 3 years, then I would say no, because I just would. I mean, because really there are coaches on staff, including offensive coordinator Bruce Arians, who knows Peyton well. That was Peyton's first quarterback coach. The quarterback coach now, Clyde Christensen, was his offensive coordinator for the past couple of years. So there is certainly the mechanism there for Peyton Manning. If he's going to be the same old Peyton Manning, then I would say no, it's not the right decision. But if you're looking long range, and Andrew Luck is everything that everybody says he is, or a lot of people says he is, then long range, it's maybe it is the right decision.
More, when he's finally officially released, Manning will be a free agent. He can sign with anyone at any time. How soon should we expect a decision on where he'll continue his NFL career?
That's a great question, because I think there's a process that, you know, remember, the teams have to do their due diligence, and Peyton has to do his due diligence. And he's really been so hard at work just rehabbing and throwing that it's going to happen. You know, that's going to intensify, because there are teams who are ready to make decisions on free agents when they hit the market next Tuesday. I'll use Matt Flynn of the Packers as an example if the Dolphins are interested in Flynn. Because if they don't know that they're getting Peyton Manning, then they've got to go after a Matt Flynn, or they got to make a trade up to try to get Robert Griffin III, although I think that, you know, Matt Flynn is the one that I'm specifically thinking of. So that would only give us a 5 or 6 day window. Peyton may want more time than that, because there are going to be 6 to 8 teams that are certainly going to inquire, and that's a minimum.
You mentioned 6 to 8 teams. So give us the serious contenders for Peyton Manning.
Well, you know, listen, I think it's the ones everybody has said. You know, the Dolphins, the Redskins, you know, Seattle, you know, Kansas City will jump in there. Arizona Cardinals, without question. I do believe that the most interesting franchise to see if they'd have a discussion would be the Houston Texans. We've had no indication that the Texans would be interested. They have Matt Schaub, a very good quarterback, but Matt's coming off a foot injury and has just 1 year left on his contract, and that is a team that is going to be a very popular pick to be in contention next year, as everybody knows, and that's going to be very important to Peyton Manning, that he goes to an organization that have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
And that's a dome team. Also, they play in the same division as the Colts.
It's a dome team. They're on grass. I'm not sure the dome thing is going to be a real high criteria for Peyton. I mean, I've heard him tell me many times he misses the smell of grass in Knoxville, where he played at the University of Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. So, I'm not sure that the dome thing is an absolute factor, but there are going to be some dome teams like Arizona and who knows, maybe Houston that are in it.
Hey, Mort, appreciate the time this morning on SportsCenter.
All right, thanks a lot.